welcome to today's webinar. My name is Kyle Bazell. I am the Director of Marketing and will be your host today. And with me is Alexandr Golodkov, the lead developer of this feature. The feature in question is our Kubernetes database operator management panel. For ClusterControl, it's our latest marquee feature that we just made generally available right before the holidays, actually. And just some notes on who is speaking today. Alexandr is our senior developer, one of our senior developers, and has extensive experience across multiple projects, both on the front end and the back end side. And he uses that to do things like he has done with us recently on the Kubernetes piece. Here's a quick overview of what we're going to go over. Pretty much the why, what, and how before he jumps into a live demo of the actual feature set. And then after that, we'll give you a quick preview of the roadmap and jump into a Q&A. If and when you do have questions, feel free to drop them into the actual QA button or the webinar chat. You don't have to try to save them in your memory. And without further ado, Alexandr, you can go ahead and take it from here.
Yeah. I will start with sharing. Okay. I will start with, I guess, answering the question why the operators is needed, because the managing databases and the stateful workflows in Kubernetes is quite hard. It requires a lot of manual work, configuring replicas, failovers, scheduling backups, upgrades to new versions, monitoring, and other configurations. This is when the operators help, but operators are also hard, because each of the operator, it's sort of its own universe. They're pretty different from each other, and as different CRDs, configuration patterns, status reporting, upgrades, and require a lot of learning from the team that will manage them. So here is when the ClusterControl jumps in, because ClusterControl, we provide unified orchestration layer of the operators, as well as GUI and CRDs that we create in Kubernetes, which are translated to specific operator resources. And as well, the one interface for monitoring the statuses and conditions of the clusters. And also, the solution is GitOps native. I will explain what is GitOps on the next slide. GitOps is a set of techniques for using Git as a primary source of truth for the infrastructure. And you will declare state that you expect in the Kubernetes, and Argo CD will make sure it's applied, reconciled correctly. It doesn't have to be Argo CD technically, but currently we have support with Argo CD, and it's declarative, so it's basically infrastructure as code, as configs, is versioned, so you can always revert to the previous state and automatically reconciled. So in case there is some drift or someone manually changed something, Argo CD will synchronize from repository and restore the desired state. And from here, I think I can jump to the live demo, and I will probably reshare my whole screen for that. Okay. So here we are in ClusterControl user interface. And when we navigate to Kubernetes menu, we get into the page with all Kubernetes related configs and deployments. So we can start by connecting new environment. Yeah, here this is the wizard that help you configure the environment. For example, the host and port is the gRPC port of the proxy that agent that will be installed in the Kubernetes will connect, and it will report to that proxy and show in UI. And namespace that agent will be installed, versions. We have also ability to limit agent permissions. So by default, we have set cluster-wide write permissions, but we can make it read-only and define the namespaces that agent will have write access to right away. If we select the agent as read-only, then the GitOps configuration will be required, because the writes to the Kubernetes cluster will go only through Argo CD. Let's leave the default value for now and configure GitOps along the way. We also, Argo can be pre-installed. So we don't have to click it. If it's pre-installed, we can define which namespace is it installed. Next step will be configuring the Git repository. I'm using my personal repository for tests. So I will go ahead and configure that. And yeah, this is the GitHub access token that will be used by agents to create pull requests with the changes in GitHub. And base path, it's the directory in the repository where all the manifests will be stored. Next step will be installing Argo CD, but I already did this on my environment. You can see that in the logs. So yeah, just to save time, and I'm gonna skip this for now. So I already executed. Argo is installed, and the next step will be install the agent. And we can download the manifest and apply it, or we can go ahead to the inline CLI, copy and paste. Here I will download it. And apply it to my environment. Once the agent is up and running, we should be able to see it installed and available in the list of environments. Okay, here we go. We need to wait a little bit until it becomes active. And first, thing that we see here is error, but this is expected. This is because the Argo CD cannot find the directory in Git repository that we specified. We can solve this by just go ahead and deploying operator. Then the next pull request with the operator will create that directory and error will disappear. But we also have the initial pull request, which is simply readme.md file telling that this directory is managed by the agent. And this pull request will create the directory that Argo CD needs. I'll go ahead and merge it. And once Argo reconciles, once Argo synchronizes this change, the error should disappear. But we don't have to wait for that. Typically, it takes like 3 minutes. Argo synchronizes once in 3 minutes. So we can go ahead and start deploying database operators. Start with CNPG. And we can select one of the namespaces that exists in the cluster, or we can create new one. This namespace creation will also go through GitOps. But yeah, I would prefer to skip it for now and just go installing in default namespace. On this step, we can configure operator. This is the Helm chart values we can set because the operator is installed using Helm chart. Yeah, but we can just go ahead and apply it. It's still not synced. And we should see the link to pull requests here as well. All right, here we go. And in the pull requests, we have Argo CD application, which is kind of a resource kind of application. And the Argo CD will interpret that and install the CNPG operator from the Helm chart. I will go ahead and merge it. And yeah, now we can see that the initial pull request we merged is already synchronized. So the GitOps configuration is up and ready. And now we need to wait for the operator to be synchronized. We can also, while we're waiting, we can deploy another operator. The second supported at this moment is MOCO. The MOCO operator has dependency. In order for it to work, it needs a cert manager to be installed. So the MOCO won't be installed until we install dependency. So first, we need to merge the cert manager, which is also Argo application, and Helm chart. Okay. And yeah, now I think we probably need to wait a little bit. And yeah, so at this point, we see that Argo already synchronized and installed CNPG operator, and Cert Manager is also installed. So we can go ahead and merge the MOCO request. It should be ready in 3 minutes, yeah. And now, as we have CNPG up and running, we can go ahead and deploy cluster using the operator, cluster name, space, and database configuration and resource. We also have setting for external access to databases. It can be node port or load balancer. Yeah, what else I didn't mention? Number of nodes. Deploy 3, for example. Yeah, so here, okay, MOCO is still not synchronized. Okay, so here the cluster is not yet in GitOps, so it is currently applied directly to the Kubernetes cluster. It's in the nearest, let's say, roadmap to add it also to GitOps. So later on, we will have clusters in GitOps as well. So for now, we don't have to merge pull requests. Right. And while it's in process installing, we can explore some details we have. And actually, probably need to wait until it's up and running. Yes. So we can see logs, we can see conditions, and edit the configuration or edit resources. We can select from predefined ones, which is recommended, or we can customize it. Or database parameters. We can also save the templates besides the recommended ones. We can create new template for resources or database parameters here, and then apply it for the clusters we deploy. Okay. Look like it is taking a minute. See, we have MOCO also on running. Let's deploy the MOCO cluster while we're waiting. I'm gonna go ahead and choose load balancer as well. Okay, well, while we're waiting for the cluster to become available, we can go ahead and start configuring backup schedules. The backups has to be stored on S3 cloud storage. So we'll need to start with creating the S3 credentials. Okay. We have a credentials and cluster become operational already. So we can start with configuring backup schedule. And in backup schedule configuration, we have credentials here, or we can create a new one. We need to choose the bucket and location where in the bucket the backups will be stored. And for the schedule, let's choose every minute and 1 day retention. Okay, this is not. Okay. And we have some complications here. Let's just try again. Sorry for that. Okay, here we go. Not sure what was that. Maybe agent lost connection. Yeah, so here we have the schedule, and we should soon see the backups appearing in the list. And also we have MOCO is also deployed. We can configure backup schedule there as well, but it's pretty much the same. And what else I didn't mention, the external endpoints. So here we have node port configured, so the database will be available on this port. And here we have a password to the database, which is generated by the agent. And yeah, here we have the first backup already completed. Let's move it to 1 hour period, so we don't spam backups anymore. And I think the last thing that I was planning to show is, yeah, so it's also can be important to have logs for specific backups. For example, if something happened and backup failed, we can troubleshoot it. That this opens the log with specific time period. And there is also a link to operator logs in case there can be something in operator, but I think there is nothing here. Okay, there was something, just wasn't loaded initially. And okay, let's go ahead and bootstrap the cluster from the backup. This basically will create a new cluster. It just takes the name of the cluster that is backed up, adds prefix, which we can change, and yeah, can change the configuration. And right. Now it should appear in the list. Yeah, here we go. And yeah, once it's deployed, it's bootstrapped. I think that's it with the demo. I will probably reshare the presentation now. Okay. Yeah, and last thing to mention is the roadmap. That one of the things that I already mentioned on the demo is we will do GitOps improvements. We will add more resources to the Git. So the database operators and backup schedules will be also in the Git. For now, the limitation is only operators and the namespaces. So the aim for putting resources in GitOps, it's basically reflect all the necessary status of the Kubernetes cluster in Git. So we will be able to bootstrap just pointing Argo at the Git repository and bootstrap the whole setup. Another thing in GitOps is supporting more Git providers. For now, it's only GitHub. Also, we want to add patching and overrides. So you can override some of the resources, parts of resources the agent is applied if it's necessary. For example, some configuration and to make things more flexible to customize, as well as environment configuration in Git, stuff like networking or security policies and etc. And since I started from the bottom of the list, then other thing we want to add is database user management. So we can create users using in databases using UI, and that also should go to GitOps. Support more database operators. As you have seen, now we have only CNPG and MOCO. Yeah, we'll have more in future. And improving observability. So we have more ways to monitor what is going on in the cluster. Not sure yet what exactly it's going to be. Maybe open telemetry, and maybe we will provide some stats in UI or install some dashboards for the user. Still something to decide. Maybe the community feedback will help us to decide to build them. And yeah, I guess we are arrived to the Q&A session. If there are any questions. Am I still live?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because the internet here is a bit unstable. Did anyone guess where am I?
It doesn't look like it.
And then I'm gonna say I'm in jungle. So all the noise is some wildlife, but probably the loudest all the chickens, roosters.
Yeah, I didn't realize that they were that chatty. I thought it was dependent on the time of day, but I guess it's still relatively early there.
Yeah, it's 10:40, 10:37.
Yeah. Okay. I guess you performed a thorough enough demo that there are no questions. Thank you, everyone, for attending. And of course, thank you, Alex, for doing your thing. Alex is actually on holiday, and he insisted doing it sooner than later. So that's why he is deep in the jungle, pushing the demo today. And that's a wrap. As always, we will send out the recording so you can check it again at your own leisure. And we'll be in touch. Enjoy the rest of your day. See ya.